I want to tell the stories I want to see on screen. Can you guys hear me now?
Yes, I can. How are you?
Yes. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. How's it going?
Good, hectic, but yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm just about to start shooting like from Sunday onwards. So there's a lot going on in
Oh,
office.
I was kind of coming to that question that what's going around, what's happening, what's going around in life.
Yeah, I mean, I'm shooting this film called Chagda Express with Anushka, so I'm a little busy with that. Yeah, so we've finished one schedule. The second schedule is going to start now. And then there's a UK schedule, which is going to start probably by the end of this month. And yeah, then I will still have Kolkata schedule left. So it's a long, long
But
commitment.
honestly, thank you so much, for removing time and, doing this interview with us. I know it must be really difficult with all these shoots coming up and these schedules that are happening. Just honestly, genuinely, thank you so much for doing this with us.
No
And
problem.
I think the first, before even asking about, what's going on, I think one of the most questions that really struck in my head was how do you manage these schedules? Every other day you're traveling and you have all these shoots, and I think they're day and night. I don't think you even count hours sometimes. And it's not like it's for a day. It's every day for I don't know how many months. So how do you manage that, staying away from your family? And obviously you do miss your family. So how do you manage these things?
Yeah, it's a I don't know actually. I think it's all about motivation. It's like how I find my motivation from the stories. You know, I all my passion is towards telling the story, to to do this work, to do working day and night. Sometimes shooting at the same day, going on to the editing, and next day you're again shooting. So it's just that drive for telling those stories.
Exactly.
I think it all stems from that particular emotion.
Right. And it's not like, once the shooting is done and okay, fine, shoot ho gaya, ab main jaake so jaunga. It's not like that. There's again post production that eats your head, and there's marketing, and it's like an endless process, honestly. People come and they see and then they just go back, but it's a very long process.
It is a very long process. In fact, Ms. Shagda, we conceived this idea. I mean, obviously, it's based on a true story. It's a biopic on Jhulan Goswami. But, we started working on this from 2018. And then when we were ready with the script at 2020, that's when the pandemic came in and we couldn't shoot. We were about to go on a recce and start shooting from the next month when pandemic came in. And and after that, we were waiting. So Anushka got busy with her family life. And then when she came back, so now at 2022, we are making this film. It's definitely like hard to, keeping at it. But I mean, like I said, that, it's a story which kind of, drove us to, all of us, me, my producer, even Anushka, all of us to, keep at it and, continue the journey. But like I said, I mean, obviously marketing is something which I don't get into because I don't understand that much of it. I have been really lucky to have amazing producers who always take care of that. But I mean, the edit and obviously after the shoot, I take a break for 7 days, clear my head. I sleep, I read books, and 7 to 10 days, and then only I go to the edit, and I start working on the edit. At times you lose objectivity also, because you are constantly moving, constantly into the project. So that's the point when you have to, take a step back and and stay away from it for some time to again, jump in.
Right. And since you spoke about the pandemic, I wanted to, so when Paatal Lok came, anyway, since it was a series, it was going to be a OTT, it was going to be on OTT platform. So do you think in a way that it kind of supported Paatal Lok during COVID? Because since it was COVID, nobody could go out, they couldn't do anything. So I think the viewership eventually just increased as it was. So do you think
100%.
kind of, just pushed Paatal Lok to some other level? Because it really did.
100%. 100%. 100%. I mean, we are in this entertainment industry, in this, where unless somebody sees our work, there is no,
Yeah.
everything is dependent on that. So,
Right.
I mean, yeah, in a way, we are kind of lucky that,
Right.
everybody was at home and they saw what we made,
Right.
because a lot of times what happens is that everybody is busy with their, life, and it takes time. I mean, obviously, good contents always get good
Yeah.
visibility.
Right.
So, but it takes time. Here, what had happened was that, it happened really fast,
Really fast. Yeah.
because everybody get to see it. Everybody was waiting for some
Right.
content and they were staying at home.
Right.
So yeah, I totally agree with that. Yeah.
And I think I was recently also watching Paatal Lok because I think one of the most fascinating character, actually dangerously fascinating, I would say, was Hathoda Tyagi.
Yeah.
And I had this question that how was it for you to, like, what is the environment on set while you're shooting such intense scenes? Because they were really intense, like when you're watching as an audience, it moves you. So how is it on set while you're actually recording that?
Well, it was a little difficult for Abhishek. I know for a fact that, because he was going through a lot of mental,
Right.
I mean, his process is such that he has to, he loves to, so every actor has different
As a
process, and
yeah.
yeah. So his process is, finding the backstory, finding all the motivation, before going on set. So when we were doing the workshop one day, when he came up with a backstory, and we were sitting in the office, and me, Sudeep Sharma, and Abhishek, and we were discussing the character. And at one point of time, he started crying, backstory, and eventually it went to such an extent that we had to leave the room, because he was howling so much, because he went so deep inside the
Right.
character. And so on set also, so I had given him a few tracks to listen to, so that he can stay on mood, and that's what I do every time I, um, like for Jhulan also, I have a few music tracks. I have for Pari's Rukhsana also, I had a few music tracks. For Hathoda also, I had a few music tracks. So I would give it to the actor, and on set, because we are on set, there's a chaos always,
Right.
because everybody's working on their own individual stuff, and we have to meet a certain deadline, because we have to shoot, we have only that many hours in a day to finish,
Finish it.
that many scenes. And
Right.
generally on web series, we have to shoot a lot. um, the, the average page counts are quite a lot more than
Yeah.
what you generally do in a feature.
Yeah.
So obviously everybody is busy in their work. So
Yeah.
everybody have to get done things at times. So there's always chaos on set.
Yeah.
So I mean, we would always try and keep Abhishek away from that, and
Right.
give him the music track, so that he can listen to that music and get
Right.
into the mood. And then, when he comes, there's always pin drop silence, and he would perform.
Yeah. And since you spoke about feature and then you spoke about the length of series, so what is your take? Like, how do you differentiate that what is going to be a feature and what is going to be a series? Like, how do you differentiate?
It's very hard to say. It is about how much of the story I want to tell.
Right.
It purely depends on that, where I draw the conclusion. Generally what happens is that, and that is something which I heard on a on from, I mean, this is basically I think by Aaron Sorkin. So when he was describing, generally features are about about people, character, and series are about places,
Right.
a world, a society, something like that. So that's what I mean. What do you want to uh, explore? Like,
Hmm.
I mean, if you see Pari is about this one character, Ruxana, and
Right.
her her life, her journey. But I mean, if you see Paatal Lok, it's about you know Paatal Lok. It's about that journey. It's about the journey. Although it's a journey of a cop, but from Delhi to Chitrakoot, and so he
Right.
was exploring all these
Yeah.
places and the people of those places, and
Right.
their stories. So that's how you generally differentiate between a feature and a series. Now it's about how you get connected to the story.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, that's how I kind of uh, pick and choose. And because like this one, I wanted to tell Jhulan story, Jhulan Goswami story. And that is the reason I have chosen the format of a feature.
Feature.
Of
Right.
course, there are exceptions. There are limited series. There are, like, 3-part features. Of course, there are
Yeah.
exceptions, but I mean, this is how I mean, this is one way of
Yeah.
differentiating.
And like you've done Pari, you've done Paatal Lok, and all these other the current projects that you're working in. Now, I don't know what the genre of that project is that you're currently working in, but do you think as a director, you can only focus on one genre of film, or do you think you can explore
I want to explore. I don't want to stick to one genre,
one
because
genre?
if you see, Pari was a horror film,
Right,
Paatal Lok was a crime thriller,
right,
and now this one is a sports film.
right.
So I am trying to
Explore.
explore. I am trying to go try out different genres, but you know tell the stories in my way,
Right,
from my understanding of the world, my understanding of the character, from my perspective.
right. And I think when I was watching Paatal Lok, I was really blown away with the fact that this is not something that really happens every other day, or that doesn't come into our Indian cinema every other day. It's something that happens once in a while, but even though it happens once in a while, it's a hit. And the other thing was, I think the one of the most important things and one of the most hardest thing in this industry is the growing need of our audience, which I just don't understand because they've become very judgmental. If you know, they've become very judgmental. So how do you deal as a director or as a writer? How do you deal with this growing need of audience wanting more and more every other day?
I don't. I just shut myself from that.
You
I
don't.
want to tell the stories I want to see on screen. I really don't. I don't care what the audience wants.
Right, right. But I mean, I think
I
this.
know, I know what you're saying. There is,
Yeah,
but that's that's a producer's thing, right? I mean,
right,
he has to, he or she, the producer has to cater to a certain audience. They
right,
should bring out stuff which they feel that the audiences are going to like. But as a director, I really don't care what the audience will like, or what the audience. I want to be. I feel that I am also an audience,
right,
and I feel that I want to make a film which I haven't seen, which I would love to see.
right.
And that's how I approach all my projects.
And I think this is like how you said that you don't care, you tell the stories that you want to tell, and I think that is one of the reasons why Paatal Lok really worked. Because if you look at it, people probably might not want to see something like that, but you put it out there, and when they saw it, they were like, yeah, this is something different. And that's why I was thinking that what are these other facts about you or other morals that you keep in your head that you would like to tell these aspiring directors who they need to understand that what you tell the stories you want, this is one, but what are these other morals that you would want these directors to have,
Morals.
or
I
even principles for that matter, like
I'm I don't know actually. I think the most important thing is to be honest to your story.
Right.
Show honesty as much as possible to your story. Go whatever, I mean, do whatever it takes to bring that honesty.
Honesty,
If
right.
if you can connect with the story, and if you're honest, with the storytelling, then audiences are bound to connect.
Absolutely. Right.
I think that's one principle which I really, really follow.
Right.
I I try and see, I try and see something of, my life in that story
Right.
always, and that's how I connect.
Right. And another thing was, like, since you're saying that you like to tell the story that you want, so when you write down a script, you've actually imagined everything and you've put it down, right? But when you're shooting, do you, like, on what level do you allow improvisations to happen? Like, on what level do you allow a few changes, or in terms of dialogues, or in terms of scene, how much do you allow that? Or
So
if
it
you don't allow,
depends.
then why?
Yes, I do allow. I mean, a lot of it. I mean, there's the so it's kind of, um, in both. So if I can give you an example of Pari,
Right.
Pari, I was a little towards, allowing uh, the the improvisations, because that I was too attached to the story. And then at one point I realized that, because I was part of the writing team of Pari. So at one point I realized that, if I'm not letting the characters brew, the story brew further, then I'm missing out on a lot of things, a lot of interesting things. So,
Right.
some might work for the story. Some, I mean, why? What is the harm in looking at things from this perspective, which I might have missed while writing?
Yeah.
So yeah, so after a point, that is what I learned during Pari. In Paatal Lok, yes, Jaideep is a fantastic actor,
Right.
and both Jaideep and Abhishek. So I mean, especially Jaideep, so there are a lot of things he would bring in, and most of the times that would become like really, really interesting, for the character. You
Right.
see another side of the character.
Right.
Um, so those things are, I mean, some things are, uh, I mean, you if you feel that it's working for the story, if you feel that it's bringing another dimension which you haven't saw in that character, then obviously I'm always open to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So since you said that, you were a part of the writing team of, Pari, like, what was the main motivation behind Pari?
Behind Pari,
What was the inspiration behind Pari?
I was desperately trying to make my first feature, and that was my biggest motivation. And I just don't wanted to do anything which is, not wanted to start with any film which was happening then around 2018, 19.
Right.
Just wanted to do something where um, I can do something really cool and get noticed. So that's why I had chosen this horror, film, because horror films are generally very neglected in India.
Exactly.
We
Yes.
don't, we
Right.
don't, we don't,
We don't
uh,
have the audience for that. For
we don't have the, we do have the audience, because if you see, films like Conjuring, films like,
right, right.
things, they really work
They really
in,
work.
but in, we kind of restrict ourselves to a certain kind of horror, which
Right.
is, where we don't explore the possibilities. And
Right.
that's what I really wanted to explore, with Pari. I wanted to explore the possibilities all over the world. They are making subgenres of horror, but we never tried doing that. So that's why we wanted to do this atmospheric horror,
Right.
which was, which was never, no, I mean, not tried before, except for a few instances. So we wanted to do that, and at the core of it, it was a love story, and it's set in Kolkata, which is my domain where I grew up.
Right.
Where, which is my city. So, Janmabhoomi, obviously Mumbai
Then
is Karmabhoomi now. Yeah. So, so a lot of nostalgia, a lot of Bengali horror stories which we grew up on. All these things came up to become a horror film. Initially, not many people were interested because they were not being able to understand that this is something. This is, I mean, without putting jump scare, you can
Yeah.
also make a horror film.
Right.
You have to depend on the suspense. So a lot of people were not being able to understand whether the suspense is going to work, because you
Right.
can't really define suspense very well on paper.
That's right.
So yeah. So anyway, so that's the whole idea. And wanted to explore, like I said, all the possibilities of sound, cinematography, colors, uh, you know uh, and in horror films you can really do that.
Yeah.
You can really experiment a lot with all these. You can
All these.
yeah, yeah.
And so, since you said that Pari is your first feature, right?
Hmm.
What would you say? And I don't want a good experience. I want the worst experience of your life that actually changed your life.
Worst
Yes.
experience.
Like on set, something that, just changed your life.
Hmm. There are many actually. Yeah, I mean, worst experience is that, when in Paatal Lok, uh, you we were supposed to, there's one scene where I was supposed to shoot with a dog, where Dolly is taking Savitri to vet clinic, where she comes to know that Sanjeev Mehra, sorry for the spoiler, Sanjeev Mehra is
I watched
with
it.
another,
Yeah, for
with
everyone
with
who's
with
not
with
watched.
another woman. And for that particular scene we needed a I mean, we needed Savitri, who's
Right.
that dog who was playing the character.
Right.
And so uh, on the day of the shoot, at 2:30 at night, when we reached the location, so we were shooting in one location near RML colony. We finished that and we came to Andheri to shoot in that actual vet clinic. And we couldn't find the dog and the owner. They were gone. So we were looking for both of them. We couldn't find them. They were not answering their phone. And we had only that day to shoot that particular
Right.
scene. Otherwise, we had to cancel that scene out, and it's such an important scene.
Important one, right?
So, yeah, yeah. So, and I was not, because the conversation was supposed to be, the dog is lying in between, the doctor is here, and they were examining, and right in the middle of that, she gets the phone call.
Right.
And so, and I was like, how am I supposed to do this without the dog? I really don't know. It's a vet clinic. You need to see the dog. I mean, why is she here? What's the motivation for her to come to the vet clinic? And then we realized that we can't have the dog because, gone.
Right.
The owner is not answering, and, we have just 1.5 hours to shoot the scene. So we ended up shooting the scene without the dog, and we did that with we just kind of assumed with the sound effect that the dog is somewhere inside,
Right.
and Dolly has to come out to answer the phone call. So yeah, so
This was,
that
yeah.
was one of those experiences where
You pretty much need to
you
be
had,
ready for everything that,
yeah, this is also improvisation, by the way.
yeah.
You have to constantly improvise to face all these challenges.
Right. And I know that we've come so far, but I would like to go a little back and understand what was your drive and what was your motivation towards becoming a director? Like, how did you just wake up one day and did you decide that, what? Yeah, I want to be a director and this is what I'm going to do? Like, how did that happen?
I think it's one film which kind of changed my outlook towards storytelling. And so I kind of always wanted to become a storyteller. I mean, maybe
Right.
not a director, but
Yeah.
maybe a storyteller. I don't know how. Uh, because uh, I I think I love I love telling stories. Uh, and so I didn't know that I want to. I wanted to become a director only. Maybe I could have become a journalist also, maybe
Right.
a writer. But there is this one film which kind of changed my complete outlook about filmmaking, which is City of God. And you
True.
know, so when I saw it, I was watching it with a friend, and that friend, managed to get a DVD out in those days from his college library. He was studying in Xavier's Kolkata, and so they had a huge DVD library. So he managed to sneak the DVD out, and we were watching at his place. And when I saw that, I realized that, oh my God, you can tell stories like this
Like this
also.
is right.
And this is not a narrative. This is not a linear narrative. This is a non-linear narrative. I didn't know the word non-linear also then. But yeah, I mean, this is it. This is how I want to tell stories.
Right.
This is and that kind of वो जो बत्ती चमकने वाला वो होता है ना,
Yeah.
that's the day which
Which,
kind
yeah,
of, yeah, City of God.
City
It's
of
the
God
day.
is your answer.
Yeah.
Perfect. I mean, I think everybody has that, a waking moment in their life which basically changes everything for them. And City of God was for you.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
by the way, I would like to invite people from our community and ask you one or two questions from their side. So yes, we've got Vikhyat here and we've got
Hi.
here.
Hello, sir.
Hi,
Hi.
hello, sir.
Hello.
Hi,
Hello.
sir.
Hello. Hello. Hi.
Thank you for
Thank you
coming,
for
and
coming, and
it's a great honor to see you here.
No, I was really enjoying this conversation.
Oh, you did? Thank you so much. Honestly, like,
Yes. I'm
you
really
have no
enjoying this
idea how much
conversation.
I've enjoyed, and I'm pretty sure that everyone listening and who is going to listen are just going to go absolutely mad listening to this interview, this podcast that we have, and it's just, I think it was just fabulous. I really, really enjoyed it. Thank you so much, Prosit, for all of this. And yes, please, let's have questions from them.
yes, sir, I have a question. So I was listening to your interview throughout, and so I just wanted to. So I really like the point that like being honest to your film, to your craft is something that we really look forward to. So I was like, recently I was having this debate with a friend, a couple of friends of mine, कि जहाँ पे एक होता है ना कि आपकी ड्यूरेशन, फिल्म की ड्यूरेशन यार कभी छोटी पड़ गई, कभी बड़ी पड़ गई, कभी यार वो थोड़ा सा बोर हो गया. तो मुझे वो जानना था कि हाउ डू यू डिसाइड ऑन द ड्यूरेशन ऑफ अ फिल्म कि हाँ यार ये इतनी ही लंबी होनी चाहिए, एंड लाइक डू स्टूडियोज इंटरफेयर इन दैट, या क्या होता है, मतलब इफ यू लाइक टू इलैबोरेट ऑन दैट.
यार पहली बात तो ये है कि लाइक आई हैव गॉट वेरी स्ट्रॉन्ग प्रोड्यूसर्स, सो उसका तो कभी प्रॉब्लम नहीं हुआ. एंड most of my film and my shows and everything, they were pretty much under the duration. See, I think the key is that सब यही देखते हैं कि ये बोर हो रहा है कि नहीं. ये ड्यूरेशन ज्यादा है तो मतलब बोरिंग हो रहा है कि नहीं. एंड ये बोरिंग कैसे होता है? आई टेल यू समथिंग. I feel that if you are not giving an information, if the story is not moving forward, then it's boring,
Right.
right? And that should dictate the duration of the content.
Right.
So if you are constantly giving new information, or you are showing a side of the character which was not seen before in the film or a show, then it's always interesting. But if you are repeating something again and again, then it becomes, at some point it becomes boring. So वो मतलब तभी चीजें निकाल देना चाहिए, I feel.
Okay,
but
nice, sir. I
but
have
but
another
but the
question.
but the only I think it should be the director only, who can judge this, who should judge this,
Right.
not anybody else.
Point.
And
Sir, I have another question.
Oh yeah, sure.
Sorry to interrupt. Sir, so you were talking about City of God. So I just wanted to ask, like, who are the people? Like, there are films that aspire you. Matlab, you as a director look forward to those films, those directors. So who are the people, like, who inspire you and give you that aspiration for filmmaking?
So there are a lot of them. There are many directors, who inspire me a lot. from the classics, from Satyajit Ray to Billy Wilder to, you know, everyone, a lot of, current directors, a lot of, I mean, recently I saw Achal Mishra's film, you know, I think he's such a fantastic director. Chaitanya Tamhane, you know, they are such amazing directors. मतलब बहुत सारे directors हैं. But I mean, if you ask me, I really look forward to Sam Mendes films. I love him. I like. I think he's one of my most favorite filmmaker. I really look forward to his films.
Thank you, sir. It was like the insights that you gave throughout the podcast. Like we really love that. So I'm gonna like I myself I'm a writer director. I feel like I'm gonna take a lot of stuff from this. Over to you, John.
Rahul can go forward now if he has any question.
Yes, sir, I have a question. So, like, if you have seen, you're making a biopic on a female cricketer, and right now, the recently a movie came upon a female cricketer, and it was not that box office high end you got about Tapsi Pannu, Sabash Mithu. So,
Right.
so your entire planning was that what you have prepared, but right now after seeing that, what was the audience reaction? What was the box office reaction? You have changed the plan, and what is your means idea for right now?
नहीं यार, मैंने कुछ चेंज नहीं किया. Honestly, मैंने फिल्म देखा नहीं because our films are pretty similar in terms of I hope, because you know both Mansi and Jhulan, they played together for 20 years. So I haven't watched the film. I'm gonna watch it once I finish making my film. But yeah, right now I want to stay away from that. And yeah, I mean, that's their way of telling story. They told their story. Now I want to tell my story. So
Right.
you know, I'm not changing anything, and neither my producers are also not Netflix or Clean Slate. They are also not asking me to change anything. So I'm
Right.
very happy. I'm just making my film.
Thank you, sir.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Prosit. We had so much fun, you know, doing this. And I think everyone's just going to take so much out of this, because this is what people really need to hear. This is what everybody needs in order to learn. I think it's just going to be fabulous once it's out. And I just can't wait for it. Thank you so much, Prosit. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. Bye.
Bye-bye. See you.
Bye.